Action films and violence often go hand in hand, but not all violent films are the same. Today, let's explore the difference between violent action films and gory exploitation films, using the recently released Malayalam movie Marco and the Hindi action film Kill as examples. But before we dive in, here's a strong spoiler warning for Marco. Exploitation films are a fascinating yet controversial part of cinema history. These are films that deliberately push boundaries by focusing on shocking, provocative, or taboo content. The goal is often to draw audiences by exploiting certain themes, whether it's extreme violence, sexual content, or other sensational elements. Unlike mainstream films, which aim for well-rounded storytelling, exploitation films prioritize spectacle over substance. There are several subgenres within exploitation cinema. For example, blaxploitation films like Shaft explored African American culture through a sensationalized lens. Sexploitation films, as the name suggests, focused on sexual themes. Grindhouse films often combined low budgets with extreme content to create a unique, raw cinematic experience. And then there's gory exploitation, which is where films like Marco find their place. In gory exploitation, the focus is on visceral, often gratuitous violence. Blood and gore are not just elements of the story, they are the story. The aim is to shock, disgust, and sometimes even entertain through sheer excess. Now let's talk about Marco. Marketed as one of the most violent Malayalam films ever made, Marco leans heavily into the realm of gory exploitation. The violence in this film is not just a background element, it's front and center. Spoiler alert. In Marco, the narrative takes a backseat to the sheer spectacle of its violence. For example, in one pivotal scene, a character's death is drawn out with graphic, slow-motion depictions of bodily harm. These moments are designed not to advance the story, but to provoke a visceral reaction from the audience. The story of Marco is relatively straightforward. It's a tale of revenge, betrayal, and survival. But the focus is so heavily skewed toward the violent set pieces that the emotional depth of the characters often feels secondary. Scenes linger on the carnage, emphasizing the brutality in ways that may alienate viewers who aren't fans of the exploitation genre. This approach doesn't make Marco a bad film, but it does categorize it firmly as a gory exploitation piece. The intent here is not nuanced storytelling, but an exploration of how far the boundaries of on-screen violence can be pushed. On the other hand, we have Kill, a Hindi film that also earned a reputation as one of the most violent movies of the year. But unlike Marco, Kill uses violence as a narrative tool rather than an end in itself. The action sequences in Kill are intense, brutal, and unrelenting, but they are also meticulously choreographed to serve the story. The violence is grounded in the protagonist's journey, reflecting his emotional turmoil, resilience, and determination. Each fight sequence feels like a natural extension of the character's struggles and motivations. One of the standout moments in Kill involves where the stakes are personal and the violence feels earned. The film doesn't shy away from bloodshed, but is always in service of the narrative, never overshadowing it. While we're on the topic of controversial content in cinema, it's worth mentioning the recently released Malayalam film Pani. Unlike Marco, which was explicitly marketed as an 18-plus film, Pani found itself embroiled in controversy for its depiction of sexual assault. The film included a prolonged and graphic scene of sexual violence that many viewers found deeply disturbing. What exacerbated the situation was the fact that Pani wasn't given an adult rating. Families who went to watch the movie expecting a more conventional narrative were shocked and offended by the explicit content. This controversy highlights the importance of proper content warnings and age ratings. While filmmakers have the creative freedom to explore difficult themes, it's crucial to ensure that audiences are adequately informed about what to expect. The backlash against Pani could have been mitigated if the film had been marketed appropriately and classified as adult content. In contrast, Marco clearly sets the tone for what audiences can expect. Its 18-plus rating and marketing as a violent boundary-pushing film help prepare viewers, ensuring that those who choose to watch it know exactly what they're signing up for. So why does this distinction matter? Both Marco and Kill were marketed as the most violent films of their kind, but they represent two very different approaches to cinema. Confusing the two can lead to unfair criticism or misplaced expectations. It's also important to recognize that enjoying one type of film doesn't preclude you from enjoying the other. Gory exploitation films like Marco have a specific appeal. They're raw, unapologetic, and push boundaries in ways that can be thrilling for fans of the genre. Violent action films like Kill, on the other hand, aim for a balance between intensity and storytelling, appealing to a broader audience. Violent cinema has always been a subject of debate. Films like Kill, Marco, and even Pani challenge us to think about why we consume violent content and what it adds to our experience as viewers. By understanding the nuances between these genres, we can better appreciate the artistry behind each approach. Exploitation films in particular have played a crucial role in pushing the boundaries of what's acceptable in cinema. They've inspired countless filmmakers to experiment with storytelling and visual styles, but they're not for everyone, and that's okay. At the end of the day, films like Marco, Kill, and even controversial ones like Pani showcase the diversity of violent cinema. Understanding the difference between a gory exploitation film, a violent action film, and a controversial drama helps us set realistic expectations and appreciate each for what it brings to the table. Whether you're a fan of over-the-top gore, high-stakes action, or thought-provoking drama, there's something to enjoy in each genre. It's all about knowing what you're getting into and respecting the craft behind these films. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.